All right, Keith Carter will join us in a couple of minutes. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, good morning. We are the Out of Bounds Show. Thanks for hanging out with us. We've had an ADD show, so Blake and I are having fun, but we're all over the place.
Mostly
WRKS,
SEC. Mostly
105.9 The Zone, ESPN. What?
Mostly SEC. We've been pretty on the lot online.
Yeah.
We had a little Dak, little Cowboys.
All right. The game of the week to me is Ole Miss and Kentucky in the state of Mississippi. It's not in the state, but between our two teams, because this is you need to get on the board. You need to get a W. It's a winnable game. You're better than you have the better quarterback, like by a million miles. You have the better head coach, and on paper, I think you have slightly better talent. Kentucky has closed the gap, but when I go through that. Most important position on the field, playmaker. Matt Corral, and Plumlee would be the best too. But Corral is by far and away the better quarterback in the game. Leach is the better head coach. I think Leach's staff, especially the top three, Kiffin, Levy, and Durkin, even though Stoops is a good ball coach, trumps the top end of Kentucky's staff, and then slightly better talent, but definitely better on offense. So if you can handle Kentucky in the line of scrimmage, and Ole Miss actually impressed me, their offensive line on Saturday.
And Kentucky only came away with 1 sack and 4 tackles for loss against Auburn. So it wasn't like they were, obviously Mississippi State and LSU combined for 12 sacks. So to give you, a different mentality. I don't know. Now, they didn't face an Auburn team that threw the ball 60 times, but Ole Miss will throw it 30.
Auburn's never going to throw the ball 60 times.
Auburn will throw. Ole Miss will throw it 30 times. I could see that.
Oh no,
happening.
they'll throw it more than that. Lane's willing to.
Yeah. So this weekend, if Kentucky cannot get pressure on you, you just sit Matt Corral back there and slice them and dice them, baby. It's simple.
Elijah Moore caught 10 balls for 227 yards, and everybody in the stadium knew he was going to get the ball.
Yeah.
Is that kid, not just good, but really,
I
really,
wonder
really good?
What his,
yeah,
10 for 227 is not, I say this out loud, you, in theory, should not be repeatable. That's probably not going to be what he averages, right? But if he averages $120 through the air, that's 1,200 yards for a 10-game season. That would have to be up there, in the top 5 probably all time.
Sure.
I would not without looking at all of Ole Miss's single season passing or receiving yard records, but that would seem like it would be well close up there for a 10-game season. So I think this is another example of a kid who was good in a bad system last year, but in a system that makes him look better, just like Mississippi State's receivers. The ceiling is the roof, as Michael Jordan says. Right? Elijah Moore can do anything he wants to in that Kiffin offense, I think.
I like that. I like where you're going there. And in your deal, you told me that we slept on Matt Corral last year because the offense was not
tailored to him
and his injury.
And you had John Rice.
So maybe I was too hard on him.
And John Rice Plumlee was being elevated as this do-all, be-all Greek god of a football player. Not to say that he's not great.
He's really good.
And I'm not blaming you, but it is your fault. But people were ready to see. Anytime Corral threw an incompletion, it was, let's see John Rice.
Okay.
And so I think that plays a factor. A whole offseason of focusing on one thing, being Kiffin's quarterback, and playing in a system that plays to his strengths.
It's conducive, absolutely.
Look, he doesn't have to drop 400 a week, but if he's doing stuff like that, he's going to have himself a chance to play.
Ole Miss, Kentucky minus 6.5. Which way would you go? Let me know on the Mississippi Ag John Deere Tractor text line, 601-885-ESPN, 885-3776. The show, the SEC Insider Hit this morning, is brought to you by Juniker Jewelry in Madison. That's the place to go if you're looking for a wedding engagement ring, bracelet, necklace, super cool watch. Juniker Jewelry in Madison on Highland Colony. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Our guests join us on the Coors Light guest line. You're listening to 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. This is the Out of Bounds Show, and we want to welcome in Keith Carter. Ole Miss athletic director, to the show. Do we have Keith? All right, we want to welcome in Keith Carter to the show. Keith, good morning. How are you, man?
I'm good, Bo. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing great now that we've got SEC football underway. It was kind of a rocky road for y'all to get here because of the leadership in Birmingham and everything else we're playing. So people are super excited. What did it feel like Saturday, Keith, with all the uncertainty that y'all went through for months and months and months? What did it feel like to play a game in Vaught Hemingway and at least have some fans there?
Well, I think the main thing is I was just really, really happy for our players, for our student athletes, and for them to get to go out on the field and run around and do what they love to do. That was just really, really fulfilling. And it's been a hard road, as you mentioned. I mean, all the way back to March, and we were there in Nashville at the SEC basketball tournament, and then you quickly turn to football, and you start trying to think about even though we're 5 months away or whatever that looks like, you start thinking about, how are we going to get this done? And you're right. I mean, the leadership in Birmingham with Commissioner Sankey and others has just been fantastic. And I think our league really, set the pace from a standpoint of doing things the right way, making sure that we had all the information before making decisions. And it's worked out really, really well, and so we're excited. Obviously, our game didn't turn out exactly like we wanted to, but there was a text chain going on with the ADs before the game on Saturday that basically said, teams will score more points than the others today, but there are no losers. We were back to college football and everyone got to play, so it was a really, really good thing.
And I thought there were a lot of positives to take away from the game because Lane is in the process of a little rebuild, and but I thought that there were some things that you could take away from the game and get excited about too, Keith.
Yeah, no question. And I think that's why we brought Coach Kiffin here, to for some of the things that we saw on Saturday. And I know he'll be the first one to tell you that there are no moral victories, and we want to win, and that's what he shared with the team, and we'll continue to work to do that. But yeah, there was a lot of positives. I think the fans that were there, the fans that watched on TV, really saw what the future might hold. There was a lot of really cool things that happened during the game, and a lot that we can build on. And hopefully we'll get better this week and go to Kentucky and get a win there.
Yeah, I think it's a huge game for Ole Miss, obviously. Keith Carter on the Out of Bounds show and the Coors Light guest line. Now that you've got a home game under your belt, how did you feel about your game day operations and how everything went?
Well, I think overall things were really good. Obviously, we knew there would be some things that we would miss, there would be some hiccups, and we've been working on those this week. Obviously, we don't play at home until a couple of weeks from now, so we got some time. But there were some things that because of the COVID protocols and different things that we just didn't anticipate, and we'll be much better the second time around. But our game day staff, our game management crew, and our facilities guys and our ticket office, everybody did a really, really good job getting us to Saturday. And, for us, we're always going to want to improve. I mean, we want to do things the best that we possibly can, and we'll continue to work on that. But I think overall it was a big success, and, we'll look to prepare and do a little better for the next one.
And it'll be interesting to see what Governor Reeves does. This thing could get bumped up for you and for John Cohen and Jeremy at Southern Miss. So just kind of depending on how this looks, Keith, we could have more spectators in the stands at some point, right?
Yeah, no question. And I think the way we kind of built our ticket model this year, it allows us to grow, if the governor wants to do that. And so we'll be prepared for that and ready for that. But, I think that the virus, certainly is going to drive those decisions. And we've seen some relatively good numbers over the past few weeks in Mississippi, which is great. But we want to make sure that we are still vigilant and take that very, very seriously. We know that it is very serious. But, I hope that at some point, if the governor feels comfortable with that we can raise those percentages. And I'll be honest, I think we have a really good plan. I think our protocols in our stadium are really good, and we can protect people. So, we'll be watching that, and hope at some point we'll be able to fit a few more people in the stadium.
Yeah, that'd be great to get to 50% sooner than later. He is Keith Carter on the Out of Bounds show, talking Ole Miss athletics. We were talking about what we were going to discuss with you before the show, and you haven't been the athletic director permanently that long, but yet the pandemic was so weird that those 6 months felt like 3 years. So, how do you feel about it? I mean, you've been there a while. I'm sure you're getting your team in place, putting your fingerprints on the athletic department. Where is Keith Carter compared to 10 months ago?
Well, it's been interesting. It's been very challenging. I think for us as we were, kind of getting into the groove of things, then the pandemic hit, in the middle of March, and we had to hire some coaches and do some different things early on, in the process. But it's been good. I think there is still some structure type things we're working on, and I think most of our personnel is in place now. But we'll continue to evaluate some of those things, and as we approach kind of that 12-month mark, hopefully we can be right where we want to be. But I just want to compliment our staff. I mean, they've worked extremely hard, over the past 5 or 6 months, and a lot of it very unconventional via Zoom and conference call, and people going above and beyond, just really doing a lot of hard work and a lot of uncertain times when you have to have 4 or 5, 10 different contingencies on plans, and then you have to implement something at the last minute. Our staff has really done a great job, but it's been unconventional. It's been uncertain, but we worked hard, and I think we put our department in a really good position to move forward.
Keith Carter on ESPN 105.9 The Zone, athletic director at Ole Miss. He joins us on the Coors Light guest line. Well, all right. So, are you even surprised at the excitement around Lane? Because we're here in the Jackson metro area, and people are going nuts over Kiffin and Leach. I mean, everywhere I go, it doesn't matter whether it's my kid's school, lunch, dinner, other activities. People are excited, and the enthusiasm is, I know where you want it to be, because you want your stockholders to be excited.
Yeah, no question. Then you throw Deion Sanders in the mix too. I mean, the state of Mississippi is rolling pretty good right now. But no, we're super excited about Coach Kiffin. When I sat down with him the very first time, and we talked about where this program could go and how we wanted to galvanize our fan base and re-energize the fan base. I think we checked all of those boxes, and he's done a tremendous job. And I think just by watching that first game, people see, again, what the future could hold and kind of where we can go. Obviously, got to recruit and continue to build the program. But, there's a buzz around Oxford that's really, really exciting, and, around the state as well. So excited to see where he can take the program, and, look forward to supporting him for a long time.
All right. Now, did you buy a cardboard cutout for this year?
I did not yet, but my wife and I were actually talking about that. We may do that at some point. Those things were fantastic. They look great, and people really stepped up. I think we're going to sell a lot more of them as we move forward. But it was good, and where we placed them in the stadium, they get a lot of airtime on TV and different things. So they're really, really neat.
I think they're fun, man. I do, and I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to look or work, but starting with y'all's game on Saturday, it was pretty cool. So yeah, you'll have to grab a couple of cutouts and then do one of, I don't know, like Eli Manning or something like that, and a couple other legendary Rebels. Keith Carter on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. So is your team are y'all going on Friday, Keith? Are they flying up on Friday and staying over Friday night, or are they flying up Saturday morning?
We will leave on Friday, and the protocols for travel obviously are going to be very stringent, and we'll have another round of testing tomorrow. Those test results should get back to us, at some point on Friday morning, and we'll leave around 1 o'clock or so to head up to Lexington. Once we get to Lexington and get to the hotel, it will pretty much be locked in there. We won't be able to leave the hotel. A lot of guests and visitors will not be able to come into the hotel. Just want to make sure that we're kind of creating that bubble while we're there, and that's the protocol around the league. So certainly want to make sure that we adhere to those protocols. We've been very, very lucky and very good so far with our testing. Got another test result back this morning no positives on our football team, which
Good.
has been fantastic. We've had about 4 weeks of zero positives on our football team, which is, really says a lot about our young men doing the right things, our coaching staff, really being vigilant and making sure that we're enforcing some of those policies and procedures. So, we're excited about it. And, for us, we're going to do whatever we need to do to play football. And if that means getting up there and getting in our hotel room and just hanging out, we're going to do that.
This is a huge deal for every team. I mean, for every team in the conference to make sure that you get, the TV money, obviously. What does that mean knowing that you could fulfill and play 10 SEC conference games, Keith?
Well, we were on a call with the ADs yesterday, and basically we finished 1/10 of our schedule now, and for every game that we play, every week that we play, I just think that's a win. I really, really do, and kind of from where we were coming from in July and August, and not knowing if we get to play at all. So we're taking this thing week by week, and I think if somehow we could finish all 10 games and get all those games played, I just think it would be a huge success. Everybody wants to win. We're gonna declare a champion and all that, as we always do. But again, this year I think we're all winners just because of what we've been able to accomplish. And if we could push through the season and get to that 10 games, maybe get to some postseason, I just think that's going to be a huge win, and hopefully it'll allow us to get momentum with other sports and push forward and all of that as well.
Keith Carter on the Out of Bounds show. So, right now the 41 bowl games are on, so that's exciting. And you can probably frame it up better than I can, but bowls are going to take 4 and 6 teams, 3 and 7 teams. I mean, they want to play because it's their livelihood too. What's the latest on the bowl games, Keith?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the access is going to be a lot easier this year with really no stipulations on who can come and those type of things. And for us in a first year with a new head coach and playing 10 SEC games, that could be a very advantageous to programs like ours that hopefully we'll end up with a winning record, but you never know. And I think that's good, and I think certainly with having less teams to pull from initially, now it looks like a lot of these conferences are coming back and everybody's going to be in the mix. But I think it's a good thing. I think this is a very non-traditional year. Things are different. This is not a normal year, and I think that allowing teams to come in and play in bowl games will be great. And like for us, if we end up at 4 and 6 and obviously have played some tight games and have a good product out on the field and are exciting, I think we're going to be attractive to a Liberty Bowl.
Absolutely.
Or somebody, around that would like for us to come and play. So I think it's a great thing. And, for us, we're going to support our young men and our coaching staff. And, hopefully we'll get there the traditional way. But if not, then, we'll see how that plays out.
Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We're visiting with Keith Carter, athletic director at Ole Miss, talking, Ole Miss football gets kicked off last weekend, and now they play at Kentucky at 3 o'clock on Saturday. The team and the crew will travel up there on Friday. Blake, do you have a question for Keith Carter? No, okay. I couldn't tell where you were going there. So when you look at the football stadium, Keith, is there something that you're looking at doing in the next 3 to 5 years with Vaught-Hemingway?
Yeah, for us, I think we've got to do some major work there. We've got our west side of the stadium, our press box area that's been there for a really long time. And for me, I would love to really kind of start over on that side and just do some really cool things over there, build in some more premium areas, some more suites. Maybe move the press area a little bit to where we could create some more areas for our donors and our fans. So I think that's probably our next, big campaign type item, that we could maybe potentially start here in the next few years and start, gearing up for that. But, I just think for us, we've got to think strategically as we move forward. You start talking about TV contracts and people watching on TV, and I'm not sure that these 100,000 seat stadiums are going to be kind of the wave of the future.
No.
We're at 64,000 right now, but I could even see that coming down a little bit, creating some more premium areas. and doing those types of things, because we're going to have to get really creative on how we sell tickets in the future. I even think coming out of COVID, this year with a lot of people, opting out and staying home, we're going to have to get creative to get some of those people back, and we've got to start thinking like that. But I certainly think that a big stadium renovation is in the cards for the future. Hopefully we can get past COVID and get back into the planning and the thinking for that process.
I love where you're going on the home side, and I think you're spot on as far as, the 100,000 seat stadiums. That's done. But, yeah, revamping that over on the home side with premium seating could be super cool. Where are you with scheduling? So, there's been all this discussion. I've heard other ADs in the SEC discuss what could kind of play out over the next 5 or 6 or 7 years. Where are you on 10 conference games and 2 Power 5 games and starting to get rid of the Woffords and the New Mexico states, Keith?
Well, I think this year is very interesting with the 10 conference games. I think it's certainly attractive to the fans, and I think for TV, it makes for great TV. I think if you're a program like ours and trying to rebuild a little bit, it's honestly not the best schedule, because we're playing just a grueling, grinding opponent every night out. So, for me, I think if you look at the SEC and the way we've done it in the past, the 8-game conference schedule hasn't hurt us. We've had teams in the playoff. We've had teams competing for championships just about every year. So, I'm not sure that, I'm a proponent of going to 9 or 10 conference games. I'll certainly listen as we move forward. But, for me, I think that the 8 games has worked. And, do we need to get a little more competitive maybe in our non-conference scheduling? Maybe. And that's something that I think we're going to look at doing. We're doing some home and homes with some group of 5s and doing some things. Obviously, we have the Power 5 opponent that we have to have every year. So we're looking for nice matchups there. But I think the 8-game has worked, and I think unless somebody can convince me of why we would need to change that, I think we stick right there.
All right. Keith Carter, athletic director at Ole Miss, on the Coors Light guest line. Keith, thank you for your time today. Continued success. We'll catch up soon.
Sounds great, Bo. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Keith Carter, AD at Ole Miss, on the Coors Light guest line. Couple things there. The stadium kind of renovation. He's not worried about adding a bunch of seats, but he wants to give his donors and alums better access to premium seating. And I think where he was going is premium seating between the 20s and between the 30s, which is where that, kind of press box and those old suites are. I don't remember when they threw those up. That may have been late in Brewer's tenure. That's the way to go. I mean, again, I see these big pavilion-type areas, club-level, kind of open and closed areas where people can hop around to different food courts and bars, and then, smart TVs everywhere. But I also want to hit on the scheduling piece, too. Hour number 3 coming up. Don't forget, Dave Bartu, the College Football Matrix, will join us at 9:30